Alright, so Avengers Infinity War literally comes out tonight, and I still have not finished talking about the rest of these Marvel movies. So I'm going to try in quick succession to talk about them, but describe really what I love about them. And I did that with the other videos too, but it's gonna be pretty quick because I literally have to finish these by tonight. Just as a completionist, just because I want to, not because I have to. But next up, I just talked about Avengers Age of Ultron, so next up is Ant-Man, which is probably the most simple Marvel movie in the MCU, I think. I feel like it's the most simple because it's because of the same kind of story in this movie compared to other movies like Iron Man, where like it's this hero gets down on his luck and has something big happen to him, like a big break, and it's very similar to that story where like it's just this, it's the same kind of thing. So I think that this one is the most simple just because it's been done a lot in this franchise where the story is very simple, and this one I feel like follows those and tries to be a little different. The difference I think in this movie is that it's a heist movie as opposed to the other ones where it's a cool idea. It's a cool idea in contrast using a person who can become the size of an ant in a heist, like using him in a heist movie. That's really cool because that works effectively in the heist scenes, even though there are not many in this movie. It's pretty. It's not like a heist that's like complicated. It's just one that's very simple, like the movie, and that's the thing that I'll give. I guess the negative to it. It's not. It's. I still love it. I still think it's an awesome Marvel movie, and I think it's a really fun one. But I feel like it's just the most simple one out of all of them, which is fine because simplicity doesn't mean it doesn't have to be good. I think that this movie is really entertaining, just like the other ones. And I'd say honestly, after Avengers: Age of Ultron, which I liked a lot too, I feel like I like this one more. Um, which is weird because you would have thought the Avengers one I would have liked more than this, but in terms of how they were released. And Ant-Man, I think Paul Rudd is a really cool main lead in this movie. I thought that he was a great person for this role. Because this is trying to be more of a comedy. I know the other Marvel films do that too, but this one tried really hard to be very comedic, like in terms of just like not one-liners. It has a lot of funny moments that incorporate into the plot as opposed to just being quips. And I feel like this one tried to be really comedic, and it paid off pretty well for me. I think that the characters are really genuinely likable. Scott Lang, who Paul Rudd plays, is really great. I think that, like I said, he's the great role for this movie because his humor, I feel like, whether they wrote it this way or not, or he brought in his kind of humor that Paul Rudd has, I think that it works for this movie. Like, his charm really works for this type of movie, and I think that it is really good that he's the main lead in this. And I really love how Michael Douglas is in this movie. I haven't seen Michael Douglas in a movie in a while, like in a current movie. And I know he's been in current movies, but they're more like they go to the way of just being movies that are not really like people don't even talk about that just came out recently with him in it. Because I know he's had recent movies, but they're not any that like or anything that made him noticeable in the movie. But I know he's been in films recently, but nothing I can think of off the top of my head, because this isn't like he's past his heyday in terms of like popularity, and that's great that they brought him into this because since he's kind of lost his popularity in just terms of being in movies all the time, that's cool that they brought him in this because he's really cool as Hank Pym, the guy who gives Scott Lang the suit and is the one who's done all this before. Like the mentor giving him this chance to do something. I thought that it was just really cool with him in it as well. And Evangeline Lilly is really good as the daughter. And I thought that there's great chemistry between her and Scott Lang and great chemistry between her and her dad Hank. I think that they all have a good like dynamic. I like how funny they are towards each other, but they also have some genuine moments. The moment where she and Hank are talking about how they've kind of closed each other off because of her mother's death. It really works because of, I feel like, the acting, and just because of how you see the dilemma between them and why they're so not together towards each other. I think that like you see Hope's reasoning and you see Hank's reasoning. Like you can see their dissonance between each other. I think that they really, whenever they have that breakdown about why things were not told to her, I think that it really worked and it was good. And I like the idea of, even though Scott Lang knows he's expendable, I like the idea that he uses that as an excuse whenever Hope, who has always wanted to use the suit, but Hank has never let her. I think that it works whenever Scott says that I'm expendable. It doesn't matter to me, he's keeping you safe. Or it doesn't matter to you guys because I'm not related. I think that's really cool, and I like how the hero knows he's expendable, but he doesn't it's fine with him. He's not, because he has been in prison from doing other heists, and wanting to be back with his daughter and see her again and try to be clean and not do anything else. But of course, he has another heist in this movie, and I thought that just, even though it's a simple motivation, I like how he's just trying to be with his daughter. Like you see how strong it is between how he feels about her and how he wants to see her, and how he talks to his ex and her new husband, and how you see why he wants to be with his daughter, and you see why it makes him mad and makes him depressed. And even though it is a comedy, it does have some genuine moments that work emotionally. I think these characters are really entertaining, but they have some depth to them in this type of movie, and I think that they're really good. I think that all the performances are really good. Michael Pena is really funny in this movie. He has this shtick where he would talk about something, but he would talk about 100 other things before this, 100 other different people leading to this certain thing he's talking about. Whenever he's talking about the heist at the beginning, we're gonna go rob this old guy's house, which is Hank Pym's house. And he shows it shows on the movie all these different people talking in his voice, where they're connecting to how he figured out about the heist. And it's really funny because they're all talking both Michael Pena's voice, and he says it really in just a silly way. It really is funny. And the scene at the beginning, whenever Michael Pena he sees Scott Lang, and whenever he talks to him for the first time after he's out of prison, Scott's like, "How have you been?" And he said, "Well, my mom died and my dad got deported, but I got the van." It's funny because he's just got a great comedic wit to him. He is a great choice as well in this movie. He's awesome as this really comedic sidekick character. And the other sidekick friends too, who are awesome as well. They all got funny quips and funny lines too. And Corey Stoll as Darren Cross is good. I like the performance. I thought he was good. But it just suffers from the typical Marvel villain formula for me, where I know what they're trying to do in all these Marvel movies for the most part. They're trying to focus on the hero, and they do give so much time to Scott Lang and Hope and Hank and all of their friends, but it does stink that they don't give enough to the villain. But you see why he's like this. You see why Darren is wanting to it's a small movie too. It's not like he's trying to destroy the world. He's just trying to get the suit that Hank had, because Hank, who pushed Darren so far to do something and then kind of regretted it, seeing a little of himself in Darren and how Darren is going kind of crazy and ballistic. I like that dynamic, even though it's simple. I liked how you see the villain's motivation easily. I just wish that he was in it, he had more to it. But the dialogue they does give a good explanation, and the performance is really good. Corey Stoll is good in this movie. I liked him a lot. But like I said, it's just one of those typical Marvel villain problems that is not a bad thing. I don't think any of them are really ever bad, for the most part. But I think that it's just they don't get enough of themselves as the villain. And I get what they're trying to do. Like I said, they're trying to make the hero shine, and they really do, but it's just a tiny criticism, not one that makes the movie bad or terrible or unentertaining. It's just a small little quip that I don't get. But overall, it's not bad at all, the villain thing. It's just the performance is fine. I just wish he was more developed, even though what they gave the explanation for is fine. But overall, Ant-Man is still really funny and really entertaining. I love how it's a small film, literally, in terms of it's not a giant villain taking over the world, trying to destroy the world. It's just about this guy who, out of prison, wants to see his daughter, does a heist again, and then chaos kind of ensues. And it's really fun and really entertaining just because of the performances as well. Like I said, all the performances are awesome. It's cool having all these guys in this movie introduced in this universe. Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas especially. And Evangeline Lilly is awesome too. And all the side characters are awesome, but it's just... like, it's definitely a good Marvel movie. It's definitely one that's entertaining and always rewatchable. I've rewatched it a lot of times since it came out, and I still enjoy it. And I think that it's one of the most simple Marvel movies, but it's still in the upper tier. It's still one of the really great Marvel movies. So overall, I still really love it, despite a few quips.